Are we live? I think we are. What is up, everyone? Oscar here with, like I said in my previous videos, I am here with a fellow YouTuber, not a sport, well, start trying to convince him to become a sports YouTuber as well, but he is known as a political podcast or Jason Alamio. He is my guy. What is up, Jason?
What's up, Oscar? How you doing? What's going on, everybody?
Welcome back, Jason, to my channel.
Good to be here, man.
Like I said, we will be talking Washington and Dallas, their second matchup. I know, Jason, you were kind of bummed with the last result. How do you feel going into this matchup, though?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I know that the last matchup, it kind of bummed you out. How do you feel about this matchup?
Uh, I remember that. Well, I got to talk about my Cowboys. If you don't mind, I want to talk about last weekend's game if I'm able to.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, by the way, you sound a little far from your mic, but my Cowboys last time they pissed me off. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on you because you don't really curse on your channel, so I'm gonna try and filter myself. Um, I don't have a filter, so that's tough. But October 25th, they beat the Cowboys 25-3. The Cowboys played like jack, terrible, crap, whatever you can substitute for that word. They really just did not do a good job at all. They didn't look like a team. They didn't feel like a team. They weren't working together. There was a whole bunch of rumors going around. Then the Cowboys made some trades. Now, the Cowboys and Washington football team. Cowboys are 3-7, and the Washington football team are at 3-7. This game coming up is really important, Oscar. This is the division game. This is who's going to win the division. Dallas wins it. They undeservedly so will win the division. If the Washington football team wins it, I don't know that they'll win the division, but also undeservedly so will win the division. But let's take a look at what happened last weekend. Andy Dalton came back. I thought that hit from John Bostic was good enough to where he was going to be out for the rest of the season. Apparently not. He's back. Andy Dalton didn't really have to throw for too many yards at all. Quite a few actually. Last week he actually put up 3 touchdowns at a rating over 100. Now the other thing is he did have to work quite a bit. If I'm going to be honest with you, to move the ball through the air. Guess what? He went 203 yards on 32 attempts. That's crazy. But that leaves him at just under about 7 yards per attempt. Now, the Cowboys offense. The Cowboys offense is doing pretty good. Ezekiel Elliott had a good game. He actually came to play. I know, Oscar, I was bagging on Ezekiel Elliott, but I think you even gave him a little bit of props. But this time, I have to give him a little bit of props. He had 2 season highs against the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm thinking of that Lizzo song, New Man on the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but he had 2 season highs. He had 4.9 yards per carry and 103 yards in the whole entire game as a whole. Now, let's remember what happened on October 25th. Washington against the Cowboys. Washington football team against Dallas. They actually, if you remember, Oscar, I don't know if you remember, but they beat up on Ezekiel Elliott. Remember?
Yeah.
They were able to run the ball. Antonio Gibson had a good day. I think Terry McLaurin had a good day against Trayvon Diggs. So, but this time on October 25th, before they beat up on Ezekiel Elliott, but then even before Dalton left the game with that uh, touch that hit, yeah, he was sitting on a 30. I looked it up, 36.1 passer rating. He was also sacked 3 freaking times by Washington. Now that was, of course, as we just said, all before John Bostic did that really nasty hit. Are Cowboys going to go for revenge? I would hope so. I mean, here's the thing: if they are doing pretty good and they're leading, I don't see why they need to. But if another Washington football player like John Bostic hits one of our players, our linemen need to go and do some damage to him. That's what a team is supposed to do. I agree with Shannon Sharp when he said, I don't need to know who you are. I don't need to know your wife. You don't need to know my kids. We don't need to go hang out, eat dinner, go to the movies. You're in my uniform. I need to protect you. Now, Washington's pass rush is at the top of the top this season, right?
Yeah.
Do you know do you know how high it is?
I think they're top 5.
Yeah,
I can't remember I don't know
I
the
don't know
number.
the number. I think they're through. No, they're not number 3 or 4 or 5, but they're in the top 5 this year, and they actually had 4 more this last game against, what was it, the Bengals.
Yeah.
Now, your defense is doing pretty good, but there's no other team besides yours that's held passing attacks to fewer yards per game. Now, you got to check this out, though. Washington's rating allowed is now at near 90 after last weekend's game. Now, I've noticed also that Washington's run game is pretty good. Antonio Gibson had almost 100 yards, and he scored on
Well,
5.
that's one game though, because I want to talk more about that. We're
Right.
actually, surprisingly enough, we're at the bottom of the league in rushing. Like we only average 91.9 yards per game.
You actually took those words right out of my mouth. Because I mean, but this last game he had a score of 5.9 yards per carry. Now, as you said, your rushing game is not that great. What is it, 91?
Yeah,
The rating?
91.9. Yeah.
Right, and Gibson's performance has not been very good all the time. He's been a little bit inconsistent, but so has his workload. Now, if you realize the only other game where he actually had 100 yards, do you know who was it against?
Dallas.
That's right. See, you know your team. But your team has actually struggled worse than any other team against ball carriers, right?
Oh yeah, that run defense.
What is it at? Is there
I think it was like 27th.
something like, I don't know. I
It
didn't
was.
check.
It was 20. I think it
But
was 20. I know that they're in the bot. I think it's 27th.
Yeah. Um, Now, although you're kind of suffering with against ball carriers, Dallas has actually allowed one of the highest ratings in the entire league. In the entire league. That could also hurt us. But now here's the thing that I think Dallas has a good here's where I think Dallas has a good chance this week. One, they're only playing 5 days after Sunday. So it's not like a whole 7 days. So they're still able to kind of come up, and maybe they're still going to be fresh. Now, they're one of their biggest motivations should be Alex Smith. Alex Smith, your quarterback, last week, what did he go about? He threw about 100 on average. He averaged about 166 yards.
Yeah, 166 yards passing.
Yeah, which is just about 6.6 yards per attempt, and a rating of 83.1. So I don't think that's terrible, but I also don't think it's hot to where Dallas should so should be fearing like, oh my God, right?
Here's the thing that happened with the New York Giants game and the Lions game, because Alex Smith is known as a check down guy. He just goes, he doesn't throw the ball for I don't know, like 20 plus yards at all. But the only reason why he did that was because Washington was behind. Now in this Bengals game, it was something different because the Bengals weren't able to capitalize, check. So he was able to just check it down. Take what the defense is going to give him. If Dallas jumps out to a 10 to 13 point lead within the first quarter, second quarter, I can see Alex Smith start throwing bombs.
Well, the thing is that Alex Smith has to, and I'm just telling you, if I was thinking about if I was a Washington fan, which I would never be, he has to start throwing those bombs, those chuckdowns, right away. I mean, and Dal, um, uh,
He's never
what?
been like that though. That's the only issue. Like he was never like that in San Francisco. He was never like that in Kansas City.
Right,
He was
but
he was never that type of.
he needs to be because if Dallas gets to if they get to a 13-point lead or they get any higher, what he's going to have a problem with is okay, I'm going to start throwing bombs, but then I'm not going to get any higher. Dallas is just going to keep scoring. Now, here's the problem that Dallas has is that last week they were feeding the ball to the offensive line was feeding the ball to Andy Dalton. They need to be able to do that this game because one thing that they struggled with even before Dalton left the game was they weren't feeding the ball. They looked like they were at a little league game and they were learning how to play football for the very first time with their dads. It actually looked like that. And so one thing is CD Lamb is doing pretty good. Leighton Vander Esch doing pretty good just from last week's game. Jalen Smith, I don't really have a lot of
Confidence.
confidence in. Trayvon Diggs, I don't either, just because he's a rookie and he's still.
I think
He
he's
really,
I think from what I've read, I think he's out. I think he's out for
I
this
do
game.
I do think so. Now, if he does play, I think that's going to be a problem for us because I think he's on our offensive. I think he's on the front seven, isn't he? I
No,
can't.
he's cornerback, so he tries to
Oh,
shut
right.
down like the wide receivers, like Terry McLaurin and.
But the thing is, Terry McLaurin had a field day with him last time, or was it Antonio Gibson?
No, it was a Terry McLaurin, but again,
Yeah,
like I said, I don't know if he's uh Dallas has there is because the reason why Diggs was in that position is that because Dallas's top corner was injured. I think his last name is Awuzie. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his first
yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah.
Because Awuzie has always burned Washington. So if he's I don't know if he's in or out for this game. I know that he was supposed to be back by now. I don't know if I don't watch enough Dallas games to know, but he if Trey if the Cowboys are down yet another corner, then they're doomed.
Yeah, because Washington doesn't have too many injuries like Dallas does. Dallas, I mean, we should be called the Dallas injuries because Jesus Christ, I mean, we're
And here's the thing, Washington. They, Dontrell Inman, a no-name guy, is
yeah,
out. But next thing you know, like a rising star, and Cam Sims is his name. I liked him a lot when I think he was an undrafted free agent like 2 or 3 years ago. But he was never given the chance, and I liked him because he
yeah.
was able to make those one-handed catches. Now you're seeing why people are starting to like because he balls. Him and Alex Smith have a connection. So if if you guys are down, like if Dallas is down like with corners with key players on defense, their safety play actually is better. I don't know the names of their safeties, but I hear that there's according to, well, I don't know if you take Skip Bayless's word, but according to him, the safety play is better than what it was. He likes certain safeties on the team.
I
So
think Skip Bayless is right, but I don't know that it is insanely better than it was. I think what it is with this Dallas Cowboys team is yes, the trades were a little bit better, but I mean, and you've got on your offensive line, you've got what, three players that have been to the Pro Bowl. Uh, who was it? I think Dalton or someone went to the Pro Bowl, and then in his first 5 years won 10 games a season. I I don't remember the player, but I mean, you've got a lot of Pro Bowlers there. You've got a lot of people that have done really well, even in the regular and the postseason. But my problem is that they're, I know he was excited. Oh yes, they're great, but I feel like it's when the Cowboys feel it. I don't really think it's like, oh yeah, no, they're really improving. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure what to feel on that. To be honest with you. Um,
What was I wanted to ask you about. I mean, the offensive line play is better.
yeah,
They put in Zach Martin. I think from
yep,
left. He's a right tackle
yeah. Now he is.
or right. So he's one of the key pieces on that offensive line. So I'll give credit to that. Do you think?
I think they're doing better with their defense too. Their defense, I think they're glued more as a team. I think they're playing a little bit more competently. I think they're able to stop a couple more. I don't think they're able to stop major plays all the time, but I think given they
Oh
could
no,
stop two or three plays
that's
in
the
a
same
game.
thing. That's the same thing with our defense. You know, our defense, our safety play is bad because Landon Collins in that Dallas game went down with an injury. Um, Cam, what's his name? Not Cam. Yeah, Cameron Curl is a rookie, and then DeSazier Everett, who is a special teams guy that helps with kickoff returns and punt returns, is forced to play free safety because Troy Apke is trash.
Yeah.
Washington fans call him Trash Key because he gets burned. He gets burned in big plays. And I think you noticed in my post game reaction that he dropped an interception that could have led to more points for Washington. So um, I'm quite frankly I'm surprised that Washington's pass defense is first in the league. I didn't even know that
Yeah.
until I was a special guest on Ed Oliver's podcast or YouTube channel. When we were discussing that, he was like, I think it was him that he said, "Did you know that Washington is the first ranked pass defense?" I was like, "What? Really? We don't play like Washington doesn't play like it."
Yeah, no. Shannon Sharp yesterday and Skip Bayless were talking about that, how you guys are the number one, and I was like, look, I know my Cowboys are not, and I'm not going to say that they are, but Washington. I mean, I would think the Phillies are not. Thinking baseball, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are maybe, but but even they're struggling too. But Washington, we'll see tomorrow, but I don't know that they're number one.
I don't know. I have
I
a
mean,
feeling.
look, on paper they're number one, so look, they're number one. But when they play, I don't see it. What I'm very concerned about is Dallas. They can't just be scoring a bunch of field goals. They have to get control of the ball. They have to be able to run the ball.
I mean, on the
Ezekiel Elliott needs to be able to do his job. He's running back for a reason. I'm surprised they didn't trade him. I wanted them to. CeeDee Lamb has to do a great job tomorrow. Our defensive line and even our secondary, they need to really make sure that they're not allowing a lot of plays. Uh, Dallas, one thing they're good at is fumbling the ball too. They have to make sure, uh, you know, I know a lot of teams that allow others to just they are turnover. If they were presidents, they'd be turnover in chief. They have a lot of turnovers.
yeah,
Um, so they can't do a lot of turnovers. They have to be able to control Terry McLaurin, uh, uh, Antonio Gibson, uh, and when Alex Smith throws his bombs, they have to also be able to control him. So I'm very concerned about that. I think what Dallas needs to do also is their special teams needs to come together. Our special teams are just trash. Now, look, were they good last week? Sure. But come on. It's been how many weeks since we lost to your team? A month? It's been a month since we won we lost to your team, okay? And that created the 2-5. Then we lost two more. And then we won this one. That was just it could have been a fluke. Did they look better as a team? Sure. Were their special teams a little bit better than normal? Yeah, but your special teams needs to be able to, be able to control and handle the ball effectively. Uh,
I gotta give your special teams credit where credit is due, though. At least you guys got a kicker that's competent.
that's true.
They call him Greg the Leg for no. They don't call him Greg the Leg for nothing.
Man, those kicks though are beautiful. They are beauties. I mean, if he was in soccer, they'd love him.
Yeah,
Because
because
the thing is, when he kicked,
our kicker misses things from like 43, 39 yards out. Like this is why I like everyone has been saying that the kicker for Washington, Dustin Hopkins, he gotta go. He's gotta go.
Dustin Hopkins is just. I don't even know if he knows he's on special teams. I don't even know if he knows. I think Skip Bayless or I think Shannon Sharp actually said this. I don't even know if he knows he's in the pro NFL league because oh my gosh,
So
it's
what?
it's it's it's
I
bad.
I
But
want to ask you. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, and then I'll ask you.
yeah, no. Just one last thing. I think with our special teams, his kicks are good, and he doesn't generally miss too much. And even if what Dallas needs to do, they need to score right away. They need to figure out how to get the ball in their possession. They need to feed the ball to Andy Dalton. The defensive line needs to block any attempted plays by and by your team, by the Washington football team. Our tackles need to do their jobs. Our guards need to do their jobs because guess what? Even though our teams are not the best, when it comes to each other, we're just so they need to be. I think they need to score a touchdown right away. Sure, they can start with a field goal, but I don't think they need. I think they need to go with a touchdown, add a field goal to that, get them up to 10, and then they need to score at least 2 more touchdowns. Uh, that can actually hurt Washington, especially if they're allowing all of that. But I don't know. Your
Yeah.
defense is pretty good too. They're looking pretty
So
good.
my question for you is, let's stick to the offense for a little bit. What is your stat line for Andy Dalton, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper? And let's throw in some CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. Michael Gallup is another guy that's been lost in the shuffle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, what is your stat line for the big three? For Andy Dalton, Ezekiel Elliott, Cooper, and Lamb.
I don't know. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I'll have one.
Mm-hmm.
What about your front seven? What do you think?
Okay, look. So check this out. So Chase Young, he's been, he's a rookie, and he's been a difference maker for the defense. But people have been getting on his case for not, finishing the plays off and getting the quarterback on the ground, like getting like sacks and stuff like that. But I think if he can get like maybe one or two sacks, he should be solid. Ryan Kerrigan, he's good for the snaps that he's given. He's always been in the NFC. He's been a nightmare in the NFC East. Ryan Kerrigan. A guy that I want to see more of is not John Bostic, Cole Holcomb. Because he was the one that, got that interception off of Ezekiel Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting him to remember his breakout game last time and say, if I can do that here, if I can do that then I can do it now. So I want to see more from him. Kendall Fuller has been quiet the last few weeks. Even he's been getting burnt the last couple of weeks with a few plays here and there. Someone who I forgot to mention in my predictions video was Ronald Darby, who when he was with the Eagles, he was trash when he was with the Eagles. The Eagles did not use Ronald Darby, to his full potential. But when he's here he had an awesome game for Washington against the Bengals. He almost had an interception. I think he was responsible for the fumble as well that the Bengals lost when they were in the about to score on Washington. So our cornerback play needs to step up. Front seven is they're okay. They just got to get back there and disrupt Andy Dalton, not put him down. That's another thing. I forgot to mention this in my games. Washington has a player, Montez Sweat, good pass rusher, able to get to the quarterback. but he needs to stop with the penalties. I don't know what it is. Like every quarterback that he plays, I don't like the quarterback, has a hard count and they get him offsides and he gets penalties. Montez Sweat needs to stop doing that. So that's my main concern with the front seven is that Montez Sweat or Chase Young because he's a rookie, he's learning curve is the penalties because somehow some way the defense always gets drawn off sides, gets the free 5 yards, and then that kills momentum. So that's my thoughts on what the defense is looking like. For the offense, they just got to get to a fast start. Yes, they got to a fast start. Like you said, with this one game with Minnesota, you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. With the offense, Dallas was able to, even though they missed, certain points and stuff like that, but they were able to score often and win the turnover battle. So the offense cannot turn over the football. Alex Smith cannot have an interception. Antonio Gibson cannot fumble. The Logan Thomas cannot when if the team fumbles, he needs to get the fumble and not jump over the ball. So that's my take on the offense. They need to score either once they get they need to score somehow because this scoring always in the second half ain't cutting it. It hasn't been cutting it for most of the season.
Yeah, no,
So,
because a lot of times when you're scoring in the second half, it's too late.
yeah,
And a lot of times
exactly.
when they're scoring in the second half, sure, what I've seen from especially a lot of teams this season, regardless of what division it is, a lot of defensive lines are getting tired.
Yeah, exactly. There you
go. So sure they can, but the offensive line on a lot of teams, especially with mine and yours, they've got a lot of firepower. And but when the problem is that a lot of teams are able to make mine and yours weak within the first half. So they're able to score 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. And then once we decide to wake up and realize that we're at a football game and start scoring in the second half, it's a little too late. Especially because a lot of these teams have their primary defense. But then in the second half, I noticed that a lot of teams are bringing out their secondaries.
Exactly.
And their secondaries, of course, they're not playing in the first half. They're resting in the first and second quarter. And now you have your offensive line trying to score. Well, guess what? That's just not going to work. And that goes for my team too. They need to score at least 2 touchdowns. I'll give them a break. 2 touchdowns within the first half. I don't care if it's one in the first quarter and another in the second quarter. But if Dallas comes tomorrow and says, and they start losing in the first half, come back in the second half, they're not going to win. They'd have to pull off a giant, giant miracle. They didn't win against Minnesota, against the Vikings by miracle. They won because they actually played like a team.
Yeah. So, what is your score prediction for this game?
Well, and I'm eating pie, by the way.
Okay, so let me. What are your? I guess we can. So your top 5, your 5 keys to the game, and then your score prediction.
Man, I'm not good at this. I don't have 5 keys.
I mean, you just use my videos as models the way that I do it.
Again, I'm glad you told them I'm not a. I love sports. I mainly analyze baseball.
And hockey.
And hockey. So, football. I love football, but I'm not. I've never delved into analyzing football. I've only done it for baseball. So forgive me. I think one key: feed the freaking ball to Dalton. Feed it.
Well, he's the quarterback, so he's always going to get the football. It makes sure that he doesn't turn over the football.
Well, that's that. You just took my second key. But the problem with Dallas is they forget that Andy Dalton's their quarterback a lot of the time. They did it with Dak Prescott too. As you said, Dak Prescott couldn't see most of the time. So when he's throwing, he's not doing very well. But what I noticed with my Dallas team is that they sometimes forget that they're actually playing. They actually need to give the ball to the quarterback. Um, Second, of course, we have to not let him turn over. He can't turn over the ball too much. Uh, we need our primary defense, our first line of defense. They need to be able to block major plays. I noticed with Dallas is that they're not able to block huge plays that are coming their way. Oh, someone's about to throw an interception. Someone's about to run past you. No one's able to tackle. No one's able to run. They need to be able to defend themselves that way. I also do think that we need to be using Greg the Leg again. Um, we need to be using him more in special teams because what I'm afraid is Dallas is ahead by a couple points, right? They need to be able to at least get a field goal by him to win it. If you get what I'm talking about. I think that Ezekiel Elliott needs to do what he did this last game. He really does, and I think he needs to go even further. I think lastly for me, before I go back to delving into this pie, lastly for me, I feel like we need to, as a team, we need to be able to run the ball through the air. We need to. If we don't,
you mean throw the football, not run the football through the air? Because the only way that you can go through the air is if you throw it.
Well, yeah, but in the way that me and my family talk about it, you know.
True.
But that's those are my keys. I say, please score, Dallas, please, dear God.
Don't stay home just to kick a field goal.
Exactly. That's why I told you they need to score 2 touchdowns within the first half. They need to, and they need to keep Washington from scoring. They need to bottle up Alex Smith. That's another key. I think they need to be able to bottle up Alex Smith like they bottled up Ezekiel Elliott. Or I'm sorry, not
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
Kirk Cousins and somewhat of Dalvin Cook, because Dalvin Cook has been a monster when he was running the football.
Yeah. And I know you heard about Mike McCarthy in Dallas smashing watermelons and one with Dalvin Cook's face on it, which I find hilarious that you're able to get Dalvin Cook's face on it. Now, Shannon Sharp went on this whole rant about that's racist. Law Nation said, nah, that's not really racist because it's just not. But now, before you go to your 5 keys, for this game, all Washington needs to hear is the word Dallas. And all Dallas needs to hear is the word Washington. That's all you need to hear to get motivated.
That's true.
We don't need to smash watermelons. We don't need to do an ice bucket challenge. We don't need to do nothing of that. What we need to know is Dallas. I mean, look at the Golden Knights. They hear San Jose and they come to fight. Because that's the San Jose Sharks. They are our arch rivals. So both teams need to hear that. And I think if Dallas does well tomorrow, it'll show that they definitely thought about those words as they were playing the game. Now, Coach Paul, unfortunately, Marcus Paul passed away 7:30 a.m. on Monday. They took him because they said he had an illness. Even today, they were running tests, but Coach Paul has unfortunately passed away, the strengthening coach. The Cowboys said that they're going to do everything they can and still play the game for him. I'm hoping that they don't let this. I'm hoping that they use that as motivation too.
What's your score prediction?
I got it.
It's in Dallas, so I don't know. Like, I'll talk about my thoughts, but I want to get your score prediction.
I got it at. I got it at. I have 2. 35-31. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think they're actually going to get to 30-25 Dallas.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I said it in my video that I don't know. Like I said, Washington has not beaten Dallas twice since 2012.
Yeah.
Now, can they beat Dallas in Dallas? Yes, because that's been proven. But they have not been able to beat Washington. They have never been able to beat Dallas back to back. So I have Washington losing this one by 3, maybe 20. I want to say 27-24 or 28-24. I say Dustin Hopkins ends up costing because again he's a crappy kicker. He doesn't know what he's doing. I say he's, but then again it can go either way. Somehow, like I don't know, like in Dallas, Washington always ends up losing by double digits. I think it was in 2016 they lost by 5 with Kirk Cousins. In 2018 they lost by 8, I want to say. But I see Washington losing this game by 3, maybe 27-24, I want to say.
I do too, but again, Dallas ain't all that impressive this season. Are they able to mess up and give Washington lots of leeway for them to be able to throw the ball and score a couple? Oh yeah. But
Well,
as everyone knows, our division is terrible.
yeah, that's also true. That is also true.
So no matter who wins the game, neither team deserves it.
Yeah, true. I was gonna ask you something else to wrap up. I was gonna ask you something. Man, don't you hate that?
Yeah. I have that on my podcast where I'm like, and this and this and that. And like for example, Joe Biden won by 306 to 232. I forgot to mention that in my podcast.
Man, it'll probably come back to me.
I know what Oscar Montiel is a scared little boy.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring that up. Yay! I won the bet, but I'm not gonna fall for it this time. I'm gonna be happy, staying retired.
Why?
He's been trying to bait me all week. It's not gonna happen.
Because if you're so confident in your team, you would do it.
I'm not confident in my team. I'm not. I don't think any Washington fan is confident in Washington right now. Washington's up and down.
Your owner does. See, I paid Oscar $20. Okay.
Well, $19.99.
Woo! Thank God you brought it up. I paid him $19.99. He should be happy, and he should bet one more time because who knows? He could win money, or I can put that microphone back in my cart.
Oh yeah, that's something I wanted to ask. How was it getting rid of the microphone out of your cart?
Oh, it was easy. It was sad.
That's what I wanted to ask. How sad was it?
It wasn't that sad because before I did it, I paid you the $19.99, and I wanted to see your reaction. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Well.
And Oscar, I just wanted to tell you, one of my videos is gonna be talking about this game, and if I can find it, I'm gonna play that audio message you sent me where you got mad and I paid you $19.99. And by the way, it was not as sad because I remember I did it after you sent me that message. I was laughing so hard. I literally was like, this is the one time I'm happy to take something off my cart.
Well, I'm not biting this time, so.
Bet with me, man. Bet with me. Come on.
Ow! No, I'm good.
All right, how about this, okay? If you get 7 views on this video,
I don't think this is gonna happen because my viewership has been down. My
Hey,
viewership.
man.
I don't. I don't.
Listen, man.
I don't.
Don't
I
put
don't. I don't
yourself down
trust
like
them.
that. Don't put yourself down, okay? If your video gets to 7 views, you got to bet with me on your next game.
No, I'm good.
Come on!
No, I'm good.
Why not? Why are you retiring? What? Are you just scared?
No, because
You're scared.
I'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you will never beat me in a bet,
No,
and
no, no.
and you will never be able to right that wrong.
Listen, okay? You need to bet with me. This needs to happen.
No, I'm good.
Yes, you need it. You need to.
No, you need it. You need it. You need it to feel validated on YouTube.
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
I'm up in viewerships. You're up in subscribers, but I'm up in viewerships and comments. I'm
true,
feeling good. I'm
true.
on 600 views, but yours is more interesting than mine.
Anyway, we gotta wrap this up. Oh my gosh, something's in my throat. um,
Yeah, it's called scared fluid.
whatever. Um,
Come on, now
until
get a chance to send me 1990.
Until Monday's video, Jason. Where can people find you?
At a donut shop nearby. No, near them. No, you guys can find me at my Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter is at FluffyJA97. Yes, it's because I am fluffy. I can't stop eating, like Naeem. Uh, good friend, by the way. So it is at FLUFFYJA97. Fluff at FluffyJA97. And my Instagram is also at FluffyJA97. You can also find me at Political Podcast. Oscar, if you need the link, I'll send it to you. I talk about everything from politics, technology, and sports. Uh, I have a playlist for all three. You can check them out. So those are the three places you can find me.
Well, you know my YouTube channel is here. Just like, subscribe, and share. You can find me on Twitter at OscarJMontiel37. Um, I started up an Instagram, but I don't want to get my hopes up on that just yet because I don't know how to use it. So as soon as I figure out how to use Instagram at least well enough to start posting it in the description, I will definitely let you guys know. But those are the two main platforms of this YouTube channel and Twitter where you guys can find me at. Until then, um, watch out for my post game reaction at some point tomorrow evening, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good night, guys.